Do you want to hit us with that intro music?
The sweet, sweet intro music.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bianca, and I got QP shooting dangerous from the Oracle.
Suspicious. Hi, my name is Trent, and I found Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, after defeating a wave of orcs in the mines of Moria.
Whoa!
And I forgot I own that.
That's cool. Welcome to I Forgot I Own That, where Trent and Bianca, that's us. We take you on the journey of going through our backlog of video games that we have accumulated, and most of which we have never played before. We've kind of forgotten that we've owned them. Some of them we might vaguely remember that we bought them, but who knows where they came from? We don't know most of the time. So we're playing through them, and we're here to attempt to tell you about what the game's about, give you our hot takes.
Yeah.
Our unofficial official review, and we have a good time doing it.
You tell him, babe.
I'm telling them. But before we get into our games for the week, we do like to start out with a little warm-up of telling each other what the best thing that we saw this week was. So, Trent, what is the best thing that you saw this week?
So, I'm going to be a little boring in that I'm once again going to talk about something that I cannot show you. Well, I guess I could.
We are podcast hosts.
Well, it's audio.
So you could.
So I could, and technically, it's not even like it's a copyrighted material.
This is true.
For reasons I'm about to get into. So my thing for the week is the band that we are both a part of and have been working on stuff with called Cloud Houses. And we're working on recording some songs to release because we were supposed to start gigging several months ago, and then COVID happened.
Hashtag pandemic.
Yeah, we were working on this project for like 4 months, and we're like, okay, guys, we're ready to take it to the stage. And then COVID happened, and then that part of our dream, died. So instead, after waiting out some of the more concerning parts of the pandemic, I mean, not that this current moment is not also concerning, but everybody has a handle on like at least what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we started recording stuff to release in lieu of playing shows for people. And we tracked drums in a studio in Chicago a couple weeks ago. So I've had those recordings, and we've been working on everything else, essentially. And I'm the one piecing things together, doing the mixing for it. And oh man, every time I get like a new something from someone, it is the most. It's like freaking Christmas Day in the middle of August. It's so good. And I throw it on the track and I'm like, hell yeah, this just got even better. And it's just very good. It makes me very, very excited. I haven't worked. It's been a long time since I've worked on something that's like a full band. It's been never since I've worked on like a full band where like I am extremely involved in the creative process in every facet. So that's very fun. So I'm in a blessed position where if I'm working on a song and think this would sound really cool on it, you could
try it.
I could just try it.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of DIY at home recording, and the fact that like I'm one of, the creative forces behind the project. So I can just try stuff, and everything I've tried has sounded really good so far, but I guess we'll see once we put it all together. So yeah, it's got me hyped. It's like all I can think about, like all the time. And I'm very excited.
Good. I'm excited too.
Good. I'm glad. Yes. Bianca's also involved. She plays guitar for us, but we haven't gotten to work on her side of it yet because her life is crazy right now, but that's okay.
Oh my God, y'all. Yeah.
I will also, because I'm reaching over to take a sip right now, I'm drinking coffee. We're both drinking coffee this episode because that's just what we were feeling on a lazy Saturday. So if you hear us slurping, sorry, not sorry.
Sip warning / putting mug back on the desk warning.
Oh, yeah.
The first sip of the episode. Well, the first audible sip. I was casually like blowing on my coffee while you were talking, but hopefully you don't hear it.
Just the gentle. My goodness. What's the best thing you saw this week?
So we just moved to a new place, and I have been wanting to find a good like Chinese food restaurant.
It is a common search we have.
Because back in Chicago, we had like just found, the local Chinese restaurant that was the perfect divey, like just what you needed when you needed that Chinese takeout.
Oh yeah.
So I was trying to do the search for the place here, and I found one that had a lot of really good reviews. It wasn't like the divey one. This one was a more upscale. We paid more than we normally would have, sort of thing, but so worth it.
Yes.
It was delicious, and they also gave us a ton of food, so that made the cost worth it too. But their menu was so expansive.
It's ridiculous.
I've never seen a Chinese restaurant that had as many tofu entrees as they did. This place is called Golden Harbor, by the way, in Champaign, Illinois. Just like look them up and look at their menu because it's bananas. It's
got over 150 items, I think.
Well, and it's like they have the like American dinner menu and the authentic Chinese menu. So they have like two equally large menus.
Oh, the authentic one.
Well, the authentic one's
3 times the size.
True. They've got like frog legs, pig intestine,
like
everything.
Every protein you could possibly imagine. It's wild.
But I was just very impressed at the tofu options, especially that they had orange tofu, because that's one of the things I greatly miss as a vegetarian is like orange chicken.
Yes.
And there's only been one other Chinese restaurant that we've tried in the past however many years that has had orange tofu.
Yeah.
And this place had it, so I ordered it, and it was delicious, and it was exactly what I needed. And I don't know, some of you might think that that's an abomination to orange chicken, but it's the best that I can get as a vegetarian. So it was great. And it was just like lovely to find a really solid Chinese restaurant here, and I'm sure there are plenty more.
Yeah. So something strange we learned. Well, I don't remember when I learned this, but so we're in Champaign, Illinois, where the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign is. That school has the largest Asian international student population of any school in North America, probably the world. I don't know how everywhere else is, but can't imagine it getting much bigger. So there's just an ass ton of Asian restaurants of all demographics.
It's amazing.
There's that one, which is very authentic Chinese. There's a Lao Thai place across like the street from us pretty much that we also really enjoy. There's a whole bunch of like noodle places and bubble tea places and sushi and all that stuff. So we are in our element.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the delicious orange tofu that is a rarity in my world, but now I can just get it whenever I want.
Cheers to that, baby.
And that kind of makes me segue a little bit into next week is my 10-year anniversary as a vegetarian, which is exciting. And
crushing it.
I don't know what I'm going to do to celebrate, but
hard to say.
I'm excited about it.
Good.
Yeet.
Cool. I guess that brings us to games. What did you play this week?
So I played a game called QP Shooting Dangerous! Exclamation point.
Oh, I see.
It was developed by Orange Juice, orange_juice.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, it was released in 2012, but it didn't come to Steam until 2014. And it is like an arcade-style shoot-'em-up type game where, you have your character and you're just kind of running along a track and you just have to shoot everything that comes your way.
Yeah.
That's it. You rack up a lot of points with your combos and whatnot. And so the plot of this game, you play, QP is the girl that you're playing.
Okay.
Like your typical, like kind of like anime schoolgirl vibe. That's who you are.
Okay.
QP. And pudding, as in the food, the dessert, has just vanished from the world. And QP is the only person that remembers pudding.
What?
And so she's on a quest for pudding. She wants pudding.
That's the plot of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you play as QP, and you are on a quest for pudding. You
On
want
a quest
pudding.
for pudding. Okay.
And yeah, there's 5 stages to the game.
Uh-huh.
So you have, your stage where you're, shooting things in your path, and then there's a boss at the end of it, which is usually a person that QP knows. She'll ask them about pudding, and they'll be confused about the pudding, and, get angry enough reason to have a boss fight.
Okay. I have to ask. So is this like, did this come from another like media? Like is this a character and a thing from a show? Like
don't
an
think
anime?
so.
It's just something someone decided to make?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second question. What the hell does the Oracle have to do with this?
Oh, the Oracle doesn't have anything to do with it.
Never mind.
So,
This whole time I thought there was going to be a tangent involving the Oracle of Delphi.
No. Because every time I do my bit at the beginning of an episode, I don't connect it with the game that I'm talking about.
Oh, I see.
It's just whatever the fuck comes in my head. I'm like, this is it for the episode.
I see.
So it was the Oracle.
I try to connect mine at least somewhat vaguely.
I
though.
realized that when you were trying to think of it earlier, because you said something out loud about like, well, what is my game even about, when you were trying to think of your bit, and I was like, oh.
I mean, sometimes they're real big. I'm pretty sure the one from the last episode, we were talking about endless space, and mine was just about stars.
Fair.
Anyway,
Yeah.
We're wildly off topic. Please
That's
carry
okay.
on with
Oracle
the
has
quest
nothing
for
to do about
pudding.
it, but the quest for pudding. So you have your boss fight,
Is that what QP stands for?
like pudding quest, but not really.
Quest for
pudding. You know what? That's really deep, and I need to pose that question to the internet at some point.
Please do.
Because I
eagerly
need to
await.
know. So, oh yes, I forgot. This is in my notes where I say star or asterisk rather. Read wiki entry asterisk. So
A dramatic reading?
a dramatic reading, because I read through the plot, because I could not make it to the end of the game. It's actually a lot harder than I expected to be.
Sure.
At the end of the stage, she meets this, like, I guess, guardian or whatever, which is the responsible party for making pudding vanish from everyone's memory from the world.
Despicable soul.
I know. I actually don't even like pudding that much.
I am pudding neutral.
That's fair. That's respectable. And in this final stage conversation that she has with Sweet Breaker is the name of this guardian.
It's pretty on the nose there.
Yeah. She does get her pudding.
Oh, excellent news.
So, here's where I begin. The pudding QP received from Yuki protects QP from the memory seal and tells QP not to give up. The pudding tells QP to use the whole world's love as her power. The power of the love for pudding is gathered from the bonds QP has forged through pudding. And when QP eats the pudding, she becomes a sweet guardian like Sweet Breaker.
Wow.
I like how the pudding is, the whole world's love is the power, but the pudding is the thing telling you that.
I see. So I have a couple questions.
Yes.
So first of all, who's Yuki?
Oh. Yuki. I believe that's... Oh.
Why is this wiki page so long? I just see you scrolling for forever.
Yuki is Waruda's boss. Waruda is a group of people that are in charge of this other boss in the game. So it's like the boss's boss. It's one of the big bosses of the game, Yuki.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then my next question. So Sweet Breaker or whatever
Yes.
was the entity responsible for
Erasing
the
the
removal
pudding.
of the pudding.
Yeah.
So but QP becomes an equivalent entity by way of pudding.
I guess. Well, by way of, I think, the world's power and love for pudding.
Okay.
I think is how that happens. But now she becomes an entity similar to Sweetbreaker, which means that they can rival and like duke it out, and she can become the better one and then decide pudding for everyone or whatever.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around like how did the other person get their powers? Was it also pudding related?
This is
But
a
then
great
that would be
question.
very counterintuitive as to why she would remove the pudding, unless she was trying to avoid like anybody else attaining the same level of like galaxy brainness via pudding.
Yeah.
Man, this lore is
Unfortunately,
dense.
Unfortunately, the super detailed wiki I've got does not go that deep, so I don't have answers for you there.
God, you should start like a QP Shooting Dangerous like lore Facebook group and just like deep dive like all of the dialogue to like come up with the true answers behind.
I mean, already just like the couple stages that I had done, the dialogue was weird. Because I mean, like the first one, she like, I don't know, she comes across a classmate who's mad at her for some reason or another and whatever. But then the second one, it was like this dude that she's familiar with, I think, who's convinced that she's a man dressing as a woman.
What?
Yeah. It's a lot.
This is a lot.
So, I read you the entry. So there's a little taste of just the experience that is this game.
Sure.
So, cool things about this game is that there are two modes. There's an arcade mode and a conquest mode. So the arcade mode is like, you know, as if you're playing on like an arcade machine, except without continues. So you just like kind of get as far as you can with the lives that you've got, and
Like a high score mode.
yeah.
Okay.
And then conquest is one where you're able to save your game after each stage, so you can actually like try to progress in the game and you don't just like lose at the end of it. So that's it. So I tried the arcade mode for the first time because I was like, oh, what is this? And then I was like, oh, wow. And then I did conquest from that on because
Gotcha.
I wanted to save my progress.
Yes.
Because, yeah. Why would I not? There's like 4 difficulties to the game, so you can really kind of tailor the experience of like how hard you want to go. So not only are there just like levels of difficulty, but there's also different play styles. So there's like orthodox, aggressive, and a third one that I've forgotten, and I didn't write these down. And those affect, so like in a lot of games, you know, you kind of rack up a certain meter and then you can push a button and you have like this intense mode for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So they also have that in this game, and it's called hyper mode. So the different play styles affect how your hyper mode goes down.
Okay. Sure. That
Just
makes
like
sense.
how your character reacts. And then there's also formations, which I believe at the start of the game you only have maybe 3 to 5 available to you, but there's something like 28 or 25 unlockable ones.
Whoa.
And so what these are is you have these things called, I don't know if it's R-bits or ribbits or something. It's capital R and then BITS.
Sure.
And they just look like little like bunnies or something, and they just kind of like surround QP, and those are the things that like are responsible for shooting your little laser things at the enemies.
Okay.
And so you can choose 3 formations for your run of the game, in which you can shift between depending on how enemies are attacking you.
Okay.
So the 3 that I had just kind of to start out was this basic one where they just kind of had like a wide V formation around me, and they the lasers kind of spread out all around in front of me. Then I also had one where they were behind me, so it was like a wide formation from the back because some enemies do come up behind you, so it's a way to like tackle that. But then I also was able to shoot in a very narrow laser in front of me. And then their third one was they had a very tight V in front of me, so it was more focused on things that were directly in front of you rather than like kind of all around the screen. So there's a bunch of different ones that you can unlock, so you can kind of like maximize your, you know, hyper mode play style with the different formations that you want to sift through depending on how like tactically you want to play the game.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I didn't get so far as to unlock anything new because it's not even like a con of the game. I just like wasn't prepared for the difficulty level, even on easy.
Oh no.
It was a lot harder than I expected. It took me multiple tries to just to get past stage 1. Took me more tries to get past stage 2. So I'm currently stuck on stage 3, which I mean, out of only 5 stages isn't that bad.
No, that makes sense. Can't be that easy.
And I wasn't, sure how long the game was. So at first I was like, oh my God, I can't even get past stage 3. Like, this sucks. Like I must suck at this game. But I'm like, okay, I've gotten like halfway. So that makes me feel better.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. So that's something I like wasn't prepared for, but it isn't necessarily a bad thing considering the kind of game that it is. And, yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about it. It's like, it's a very simple arcade game that I could totally see being in one of those, like an actual arcade machine. It's just like that. And I would honestly enjoy playing that at like a video game bar. I think that would be fun to have like a beer and just play QP on her quest for pudding.
Pudding.
Yeah.
Something also occurred to me. So you said they were arbits and they were like little rabbit dudes.
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ribbits. I just don't know. It's just so weird because it's just R and then bits. So it's like, how do you expect me? Is it like rabbits? Is it ribbits? Like, I have questions for orange juice.
Orange juice. Wow.
That's all I got. What did you play this week?
So this week, I played another big game.
Big game.
Which is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. I have just an ass ton of notes on this. I went over my usual 2 pages of my small notebook and added another page. There's a lot going on here. So Shadow of Mordor is how I will refer to it because nobody really refers to it as its full title because that's just excessive. Is an open world action adventure game set in Tolkien's Middle Earth, so like The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, that world. It was developed by Monolith Productions and was originally released in 2014. There has since been a sequel that I think was released in 2017, Shadow of War or something like that.
Yeah, I see that one come up a lot.
I did not even know that there was a sequel.
Every time I would when we were dealing with Steam just being broken.
Yeah.
Every time I typed in Shadow of into the Steam search bar, Shadow of War would come up first.
I see. That does make sense. It is more recent. Did not exist, but that does not matter because that is not what I played this week. So this game follows an original story within that Tolkien world based on a gap of time between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings books. So it's not really, it doesn't really care about the movies. It's really just book based, I guess, but it's an original story.
Just to make sure I have this right.
Uh-huh.
The Hobbit is about the family member of the guy. I can't remember. Is he the uncle?
I believe he's Frodo's uncle.
Frodo's uncle.
Bilbo.
Is about Frodo's uncle getting the ring? Is that what Hobbit is about?
Yeah, more or less.
And
yeah.
then,
So
and then
it's
Lord
Bilbo
of the Rings
Baggins.
is the whole journey to do all that stuff. But
Hobbit is Bilbo Baggins. He traverses across Middle Earth. He finds the ring along the way. They kill Smaug the dragon. There's a war of some discretion, and then he goes back home. And then the Lord of the Rings is there is still a war, and also now Frodo has the ring and needs to destroy it so Sauron doesn't take over the world.
Right, I got that one because at least I've seen those movies. I was just like, The Hobbit is the actual getting of the ring.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That is when that happens.
Right.
But that doesn't even matter because this game has nothing to do with it.
It just takes place in between these two moments.
Yeah, as far as I played, I probably played 5 or 6 hours of this so far. As far as I played, the only thing with any relevance to any of those other books is Smeagol / Gollum is around, and he's trying to find the ring because it's after Bilbo took it.
Of course.
So the story of this follows a human, Talion, who was a captain of Gondor's garrison specifically during a siege of orcs. In this case, the orcs won, and he and his whole family were captured and sacrificed by a guy called the Black Hand of Sauron.
Oh no!
Who is like some spooky evil war chief dude.
Yeah, working for the big bad.
Working for the big bad. Yeah, I guess just for reference, if you don't know or have forgotten, Sauron is the giant evil eye, or the entity that created the giant evil eye in the Lord of the Rings films. If you can picture that. He's big, evil,
like
I don't know.
The thing on the giant mountain of lava stuff.
Yeah, there's the tower, there's the giant flaming eye. Yeah. That's Sauron, and he controls all the big bad. So you're sacrificed at the very beginning of the game. Your wife is killed, your son is killed. It's very sad. And then for mystery reasons, Talion's death sort of merges his spirit with this like wraith, i.e. like magic ghost spirit.
Wraiths freak me out.
Well, what do you have in mind for wraiths?
Like the shit that comes up in The Witcher.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah, they're
and
terrifying.
This is just like a semi-corporeal, like ghost spirit of, in this case, some like old, probably like elf king dude.
Okay.
It's all very mysterious. So like the whole, the gist of like the rest of the game, I mean, this is just from reading synopses and my guessing, because I haven't played all that much of it. Talion is, seeking vengeance for his murdered wife and child.
Of course.
He's also trying to, like, escape from this weird ghost purgatory situation he's in, because he's, like, not really alive. He's like semi-ghost wraithy, but like whatever. And then also trying to figure out like what the fuck's going on. Like, who is weird elf king dude? Like, why did this happen? Like all those questions.
Okay.
So the gameplay, like what you actually do, you're sort of bopping around this modestly sized open world map. It's not huge, but it's a decent size. Like you can traverse it pretty easily if you wanted to. And it's also like a map where, I mean, I think there's one or two areas that are locked, but like everything else you can just go to. There's no real barrier.
Okay.
It's one of those in the trend of games where in the new area you find the tall thing, and then the tall thing enables fast travel and opens up everything else. It's one of those.
Beautiful.
So you find the broken down, half ruined ghost towers. You climb up them as in ghost form, and then you hit a giant hammer and it, I don't know, awakens the ghost tower. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So you can do that for pretty much everywhere right from the get-go if you want.
Nice.
Then you sort of bop between, there's story quests, and then there's side objectives, and you can just kind of fuck with the Uric army. Important distinction that they point out very early on. They're not orcs, they're Urics.
Okay.
Which I guess is like, I don't know, a specific type of orc. I did a quick Google, and apparently like one of their things is like, they don't burn in sunlight, so I'm guessing the whole reason it's Urics is so you don't have to play the whole game at night. That's just my guess. And there's countless of those run around. There's like soldiers doing soldier things. They go on patrols. They do slaving. They do camping. And you can just kind of fuck with them all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. You got like 3 weapons that you upgrade as you go. You have like a sword and a bow, a dagger. So the up close combat is very reminiscent of the Arkham games. So that like attack and then counter, but also you can do other things in between.
Okay.
That kind of combat system. The bow is like a fancy like magic ghost bow. So it slows down time for a certain amount of time. Like you have a focus meter that depletes, and during that time is slowed when you have it out and drawn. So you can pop some shots real quick, but once the focus runs out, it's in real time, so it's harder to use.
Okay.
Dagger, lots of stealthing, all kinds of stealth kills and things of that nature. And those are upgraded a couple different ways, but one of the ways is you find runes that you can equip. And those are found by there's some challenge missions where it'll be like, we put you in a specific scenario and kill 10 guys with your bow, or like stealth kill 4 guys without being seen, or something like that. And you get little bonuses. And then also from killing officers, which are higher level Urics.
Okay.
So that's my segue into sort of the main gimmick. I hesitate to call it a gimmick, I guess, but one of the main sort of systems of the game that made it very noteworthy at the time. Because it's still pretty unique, but definitely was something new that nobody had really seen before when it came out. So they refer to it as the Nemesis system. So I'll start by describing, I don't even know. This is what a page of my notes are, just trying to figure out how to explain this relatively concisely. So broad level, the upper ranks of Sauron's army are a randomly generated crew of Urks. There's several different ranks up to sort of the big bads, which I'm guessing are not randomly generated, but I never got that far.
Okay.
So there's about four ranks of officers. There's maybe 6 or 7 in each rank. And all of these are influenced by you.
Okay.
So not only are they randomly generated, so their names, their appearance, traits, whatever are randomly generated, they are also like, it is an interactive system, so to speak. So when you start, all of the officers are unknown. There's like a kind of a menu, but it's like a picture of the ranks and lines of dudes. So they're just like shadows. You know they exist. You know nothing about them. You can learn their identities and also traits about them through gathering intel. Intel is usually interrogating specific random enemies. Like, so some enemies will have like a little icon that tells you they have intel. So if you isolate them, this is the tricky part, kill everybody else, leave them last, you can like grab them and then interrogate them and you pick whatever you want on the menu, pick a dude. It's very a la carte.
Yeah.
And you get...
Just give me a taste.
Yeah, I would like some of Blogdor, the Brain Basher.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
Excuse me.
Doing like a dad cough there.
I know, that's what I'm feeling.
I mean, you have the mustache, so.
I do. So then once you do that, you learn their identity, some traits, and also their approximate location on the map. The traits are these are also randomly generated, but they're either weaknesses, so things like vulnerable to stealth kills, or afraid of fire, or they could be strengths / abilities, so they're like can summon allies, drops poison bombs or something like that. So things that are really helpful to know when you go to fight them.
Right.
Because they can totally kick your ass if you don't know exactly what to do against them. So once you have that information, you can hunt them down and you get experience. And then there's another like skill currency called power that you need a certain amount of to unlock new abilities, whatever. So you kill them, and then that slot is empty in your grid, your map of ranks of Uruks, but only temporarily, because then someone from the rank below will fill that slot.
Oh,
so they get
promoted.
Exactly. So they get a bonus power, and then a bonus to their like stats essentially, and then get shifted up in the ranks.
Bruh. Okay.
So that is one way you interact with this army.
Right.
There are a couple other ways. So,
okay.
So the flip side of that is if you hunt down a dude, if you die or you flee combat, like they kick your ass and you run away, they will gain notoriety and strength. They have a power rating, essentially, so their power rating will go up. And then also might be promoted to the next rank.
So they'll be tougher to beat.
Exactly. Tougher to beat, and and then someone who's more maybe in the power level you're looking, like you now don't have the intel on them because they've been replaced by someone you don't know. So there's that possibility as well. And then you can also, there's random events that pop up that involve these chiefs and officers. And you can kind of just drop into those to influence their outcome. And that might do things like reduce or buff their power. It can get you killed. It can influence if there's a conflict between two officers. You can push the tide one way or another so that like one particular officer kills the other, then moves up instead of the other way around. I don't know. Well, I haven't found a reason to have a preference yet, but that's a thing you can do. So those are things like, there's a conflict between officers. There was one where it was like an officer's going on the hunt. So you had to like prevent him from killing all of these little beastie guys.
Okay.
Because if he succeeded in that, he got a boost in power and notoriety, whatever. So it's a very like fluid system. It's really interesting to be a part of.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'm not even done explaining it yet, but one of the things that I like about it is because there's so much unknown, you find yourself in really dangerous circumstances without realizing it. Like there have been times where I'm making my way through a camp of dudes, stealthing, killing my way through guys, and then like I'll stealth kill a guy, and then that was an officer, and I was like, what? I didn't even realize this. So then I just got like all this like free shit for killing an officer. I didn't even realize it. But then there are also situations where you're like, okay, there's one guy. I see him. I know him. I'm going to go kill him. And then another one shows up. And then another one shows up. So all of a sudden you have like 3 essentially like mini bosses to bosses all on top of you. And either you get murdered and all of them get stronger, like you've just essentially upgraded 3 of your enemies.
Right.
Or you manage to wing it and kill the 3 of them and you get insane buffs and cause havoc in their army, which is very fun. So it feels very high stakes. And then the last side of this is these guys will remember things. So not only like if you get killed by someone or you flee or whatever, not only will they get stronger, move up in the ranks, but they'll also remember. So if you come back and try and fight them later, they'll be like, hey, I kicked your ass at this black broken down bridge. I'll fucking do it again, you bitch.
Oh my God.
Stuff like that. Or if there was like maybe 2 guys together and you killed one but ran away from the other, it'd be like, you killed my friend, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God.
I will avenge him, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's really cool.
That's insane.
It's really, really cool. So yeah, when you like get directly in combat with someone, they have a little like mini cutscene where like you cross swords and they say something like either like, I'm this person, I came from here, prepare to die, or whatever.
Wow.
I'm Indigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. Or like some shit like that. Or it'll be replaced with that kind of, I remember you from this event. Mm-hmm. Or there might be a situation where there was one guy who I like humiliated, but didn't actually kill. Like I killed off his entire like troop of dudes, but he escaped. Mm-hmm. And I tried to get him, but he got away. So then if I were to encounter him later, he'd be like, you ruined my reputation. Like you killed my man. Like, whoa. It's such a cool system. And it makes it feel so organic. Mm-hmm. Like it's just a brilliant, brilliant idea. And I don't think it's that complicated, but it is just stupid clever. Like it's really, really a cool system. And I also say, so like the random generation is like really good. Like I've probably gone through 20 to 25 random dudes. All of them look totally different. All of the voiceover is totally different.
Wow.
Because it's all just, randomly generated from a pool of stuff they have. I don't know. Jeez. It's cool. So besides that, things I like, it's just a fun game to play. It feels really good. It's got sort of this organic feeling that I already kind of described. So it's not like other games. So I'll say I like playing stealth a lot in this game. Because unlike other like stealth games where you are given a very tightly choreographed puzzle, essentially, like where they're trying to not make it too hard, not make it too easy.
Like The Last of Us.
Yeah, The Last of Us.
Tightly choreographed.
Dishonored or any of those where it's like kind of stealth is a main thing. This is so open. You can come at it from any angle. And it feels very natural because it's just kind of guys. It's not a lot of repeating routes in the same area. It's a lot of guys either mulling about like one larger area or traveling intentionally from point A to point B, like different camps. So it doesn't have that same feeling of learning
how things move. Yeah,
learning patterns or anything like that. It's a lot of just observing and taking advantage of stuff, which is really, really fun. I had a lot of fun doing the stealthy side of things in this. A bonus is the climbing in this game is so generous. I don't know how else to say it. So like you can run up to pretty much any structure, hold A, and he'll just like whoop, like all the way fucking up. Like it's kind of absurd how high he can just like leap to the top of things, or
he's like a half wraithy thing, right? So he's just a floaty boy, I guess.
I fucking guess. But yeah, it's really nice. It makes it very easy to run places. It's not like super tedious, like having to go like, okay, I'll put one hand up here, I'll put one up here. Like it did. No, you just kind of like all the way up to the top. It's great.
Wonderful.
Super random, but I also like that it's a nice touch that, so you have your sword, your bow, your dagger. Your dagger is actually just your dead son's broken off sword. So it's like just the nub of a broken sword.
That's fun.
It's a cool touch. I liked that. The music is really, really good in this game. Very cinematic. There's a character called Ratbag. He's like a Uruk who you save from being killed, and like he becomes your inside man essentially. So you like kind of move him up the ranks. His writing's fucking hysterical. It's great. It's very good. There's this whole sequence like after the first time you kill someone for him to replace, where he comes up to these two like guards and he's like, "Oi, I need you to move a body," and they're like, "Fuck right off! Like you are nothing, whatever." And he's like, "I'm your commander," and they're like, "No, you're not." He's like, "It's your fucking boss's head. Go get him. It'll be your head next." It's really good. I like that a lot. There's also, besides the Uruks, there's also like different kinds of monsters, and it's nice because they break up the Uruk combat because, you know, all Uruks die the same pretty much. I mean, there's a couple, like there's the guys with bows, there's guys who throw spears, there's guys with shields, whatever. It's all kind of the same. But the monsters break it up. You can also use the monsters to your advantage. There's these things called Kangors, which are like, I don't know, beastie, like, they don't really look like dogs, but four-legged beastie things. I don't know.
Sure.
You can ride them, which is fun.
Nice.
And also, like, they're in cages. You can bust them out of the cages to cause havoc in a camp, to cause a distraction. That's very fun. So, again, very fluid, emergent gameplay opportunities.
Yeah.
And then cons, things that I don't like so much, very short list. Walking around corners can be real jank for some reason. Like, if you don't come at it at the right angle, he'll get, like, stuck.
Oh.
And then you have to, like, back out and then go around. I don't really know what the deal is with that. I was very confused at the beginning, and I'm still kind of confused about sort of why you're grouped with this ghost elf dude.
Yeah.
But I assume that is a story thing that'll eventually be explained.
Yeah.
Because kind of like you have your cutscene about like, oh, Talion, children dead, whatever, and then you have like a death sequence, and then all of a sudden you're just with this ghost guy,
right?
And then the game starts, and I'm just like, what? Okay. And then the last thing, which is the thing I like the least, is I wish you could toggle crouch instead of having to hold the button. All the time. You have to
hold it down?
You have to hold it the whole time. And you'll spend like many minutes at a time in stealth in a camp going from, and my fingers just like sore. No. So then I like go to the bushes where you auto stealth just to like rest my hand for a minute and then I can carry on. Super minor thing, but I wish you could like, that was an option somewhere. I looked, I didn't see it. Maybe it's there, but I didn't see it. Yeah. That's all I got.
That sounds really fucking cool.
It's a fun ass game. I think you would like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's in that same realm of sort of open worldy things like Far Cry or one of those where it's not really an intense RPG experience, but it has that open worldiness to it.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say it's like, oh, it's kind of like The Witcher, but like more straightforward. And I was like, that's not even really it, because The Witcher is, besides being a really intense RPG, like it's really big and really detailed. This is less so. It's just kind of a fun fuck around, kind of just do whatever you want. Like, I think I only did like 2 or 3 story missions. I mostly just would bop around because there's all the collectibles, which are pretty fun, and they have little lore tidbits. All the random emergent encounters, so things like slaves get tied up. You can do quests to free all of them in an area. There's the random events with the officers that you can get in on, and it's fun to just hunt the officers down.
Nice.
Because you just are given a pretty wide area, so you kind of look, and then you can use you have like spirit vision from your elf friend. You can kind of see them in the distance, and you tag them, and then you figure out how best to take them down based off their weaknesses. It's a fun game. Nice. I like it a lot. I'll probably play more of it.
Good. What would you rate Shadow of Mordor?
Very solid game. I'm feeling like 9.5 elf arrows out of 10.
Wow.
It's very good.
Impressive.
What about you? What would you rate QP Shooting Dangers?
I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10 chicken feathers.
Are there chicken feathers involved?
Yeah, in first stage, like these flying chickens are what you're shooting, and they shoot their feathers at you. So,
all right.
Yeah, the chicken feathers.
Wow. Okay.
I before we get into our final information part, I have a question for you all.
Okay.
I mean, Trent is better at arguing this than I am.
Oh no.
But
I don't know if I have this in me today.
I just need to pose the question.
Okay.
So you know how a spork is a spoon where the edge is a fork. That,
Yes. I mean, these are my words.
I know.
Quoting, so
I know.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So a spork is a spoon with the edges of a fork. And what we typically call slotted spoons are spoons, but with like the fork kind of.
No.
I forgot how you word it.
All right, let me
bad
get
at
in
this.
on this.
Okay.
So, a spork, as we described, is a spoon with the tip of a fork.
Yes.
It is the rounded part with the pointy tip of a fork. A slotted spoon is essentially a fork.
A fork.
So
Yes.
the bottom of it's got, skinny things with space in between, a la a fork.
But the
But
rounded.
the tip is a spoon.
Yes.
It is the rounded end of a spoon. So
the question, thank you for explaining that so
You're
much
welcome.
better than I did.
I could write a fucking doctoral thesis on this.
You really could. So the question we have for you all, and we eagerly await your answers, is why don't we instead call slotted spoons foons?
Yeah. Also, if you want all of your family to question not only your existence, but the money they put into your upper education,
Ask them this question.
ask them this question. We brought it up at a family gathering several months ago. And we got a hot debate amongst the younger folks.
Yes.
And all of the older people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they were a little bit concerned with the fact that we were spending a lot of our mental energy on this.
This was like a
question.
30-minute conversation.
Yeah, but it's worth it because, again, why don't we just call slotted spoons foons?
It's much more efficient.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can you pass me that foon? So thank you for listening. And thank you for giving us your feedback on the foon question. It's really important.
Yeah, very important.
Catch us on the social medias. We are on Twitter and Instagram at IFIOT Podcast. Occasionally, I also stream on Twitch at I Forgot I Owned That Pod. And, if you are listening via the Apple Podcast situation, please give us, a rating and a review. That would be super helpful.
Very helpful, very helpful.
And aside from giving us your feedback on the foon question, another piece of homework would be to just tell one friend about this podcast if you.
Yeah, if you're vibing.
Yeah.
Helps us probably more than any other thing you could possibly do. If you just one. You just pick your favorite. Pick your favorite child, and just hand them this podcast.
Except not a child. This isn't the most child-friendly podcast.
Okay, then pick your favorite parent, pick your favorite grandparent, and send this their way.
I mean, yeah, if you have some of those cool grandparents that, are okay with...
Yeah, I'm sure someone's got a grandpa who was building computers to play I don't know, Tetris in the 70s or something. Is that it? That's not a thing, is it?
I was just meaning in terms of the language that we throw around sometimes. Because, some grandparents are fine with that. Some are very not fine with that. So,
what better way to find out?
If you don't know, just use this as the test.
Yeah. Great call. Goodness. We will be back in 2 weeks with 2 more new games that we have not played before. What will you be playing?
Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham.
Oh, I see. And I will be playing The Sims 4.
Hell yeah.
I have not played any Sims game in a very, very, very long time.
I'm so excited for you to play this.
We shall see.
I love that game.
I know you do. Goodness. That's all from us.
Goodbye, everyone.